Morning, folks. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, a site for legacy, death, and taxes, and that is what we are going to be playing today. I'm kind of down on D&T personally right now. There's a lot of Ren and 6 and Plague Engineer running around in the format that makes life hard. So we're going to play a list that's geared a little bit towards making sure you don't just die to Planeswalkers. So this is XJ Cloud, John Ryan Hamilton's deck list from the recent 10K that he played in. The only thing I've changed is I've split the plains and snow-covered plains due to personal preference. We agree to disagree on that choice. But otherwise, I'm playing his exact 75 because it's basically what I would be submitting anyway. I would make two changes if I was just going to play my own list. I'd play just another Plains over Caracas 3, and I'd play 3 Moms and second Crusader because I think Crusader's really good right now. So let's talk about some of the strengths of this deck list before we just jump into games here. So this deck is looking specifically in the sideboard to have answers to Planeswalkers. These 4-color pile decks that are running around have Ren and 6 and friends, whether it's, Narset, Jace, even some other things sometimes, like Dak from the Strifo pile deck. So it has 7 additional answers to Planeswalkers in the board, which is crazy. Typically in a stock D&T deck list, you have about 4 answers, 2 Council Judgments, 2 Cataclysms. Pithing Needle's been floating back in recently, but this list really goes deep on trying to answer the Planeswalkers, which I think is a good approach. Sort of the downside of that is this is not a very varied sideboard. The cards here are for very particular purposes. You don't get a lot of tutorable bullets, and you don't get a lot of flexibility in how you board. Let's just compare this to another random D&T deck list I have floating around here. So this is maybe not the best example because it's like a triple path deck list, but there's a wider range of cards here. Or if we look at this as well, there's a couple more one-ofs or a few more pieces of spot removal. But this deck list, did you donate for Alurin recently? Or was this like a long time ago? I don't remember playing Alurin. Did I miss doing that? It's very possible I missed something if you donated during. Okay, alright. Alright, I keep pretty good records, and I try not to miss anything. Alright, good. Well, welcome back. Hope you're ready for some D&T action. Anyway, I really do like this deck list. That's why I'm not going to change anything here. XJ Cloud's had some good success with it. The other thing it's doing to sort of combat these pile decks is running the Hallowed Spiritkeeper in the main deck. If all your stuff is getting destroyed by Ren 6, and this eventually hits the board and produces, 5, 6 tokens or something like that, it can be an absolute game changer. So in some ways, this ends up being sort of like a white true name nemesis, in that you can't really block it, or the results are disastrous. So oftentimes those decks need something like, say, block it, kill it, and then Toxic Deluge, Dead of Winter, or Plague Engineer Spirit in order to go and take this thing down. That's kind of what I have to say about this deck list. Let's go and hop in some games. Hey, we got the XJ Cloud emote in chat. Perfect. So I ended up going 9-1 yesterday with the hybrid Hogak Depths deck that I was playing. My only loss was to Lomer Boy on that Matt Soul pile, which seemed very good against my deck. I think Hogak is definitely worth exploring more in Legacy. I watched a bit of Jarvis's stream last night. He was trying like a dedicated like Hogak bombardment deck that seemed pretty good. We've got an okay opener. I'm not gonna say that it's ideal, but we have okay. Yeah, Luminal, that was exactly my problem. Like, he was just a deck that had a billion ways to go and access Caracas. Wizard Deathbeam, I'm not so much worried about Back to Basics and Blood Moon. Like, there's a decent amount of that running around the format. Alright. Not getting stream sniped. Sorry, let me finish my thought on that. I'm not so much worried about those because I think Back to Basics is a bad card right now. I think Blood Moon is a medium quality card right now. Honestly, I'm more worried about the awkward situations where that's going to just go and get wastelanded at a key time and take me off the mana I need. That may be me going too deep into the tank, but like Basic Plains is just really good. I think it's very close whether we name Grizzlebrand or Lotus Petal here. I know my opponent has Double Fatty in hand, so if they have looting, I don't know that I can beat a pair of 5/6 Chancellors right now. I don't know that I could beat one of them right now, like without extra mana. So I think I'm just gonna name the Petal here. I think this is a close decision, though. If my opponent didn't show me both of these, I probably would have just named Grizzlebrand. But like they Cabal Therapy for Thalia, which might indicate that they're mana tight, and if I leave them stuck on one swamp and then I draw like Thalia or Port, I can probably steal this game. Jeez, if I would have drawn a land there, how sick would that have been? So their hand must be really weak. They don't have a reanimation spell in hand. Otherwise, they probably would have just, like, gotten a fatty into the yard. So I think they're flooded. And they're going to, like, play a land, flashback looting, dump both of these, and try to find a reanimation spell as well. So I'll be hoping to draw a land. Hey, morning. Hope you're doing well. Oh, Grave Titan. And another Entomb. For a Grizzlebrand. Alright. So now I get to play the game of 1 or 2. It's a tricky game. I think if they had a 1-drop reanimation spell, rather than doing the other Entomb, they just play it. So I think I'm supposed to name 2 with my Sanctum Prelate to play around Exhume and Animate Dead. And then just try to whack their life total down ASAP to put them out of reanimate range. Good shot to Bob. Thank you very much for your continued support. All right. So far, so good. Oh, wow. We stole game 1. So happy with that. All right. I think I like these for sure. And these go into the pile of things that I can consider depending on how my in-out numbers are going to work. So recently, I've been going pretty light or cutting entirely the Stoneforge Mystic package. I usually end up trimming a Brightling, and I usually get rid of all or most of my moms, and then I start going towards some of the generic beaters. I don't think I need to board in all of these cards. Like, it's good to have extra answers to creatures, but, like, triple Council Judgment is a little rough, because Council Judgment isn't that good in the first place. Relic Warder is pretty narrow. So I think it ends up being, like, the question of how much better is a creature versus, like, the Council's Judgments. No Brightling in this list. I love me some Brightling, but these are the main deck flex slots that I'm playing in this deck list. The other thing I can consider doing is just cutting a land. That's something that I've done in the past as well. Because 18 creatures is a low... Oh, yeah, sorry, trim a Flicker Wisp. Sorry, my sideboard guide that I was glancing at that I made before SCG Con had a Brightling that I was cutting in this matchup. My bad. So this hand does turn 1 Vial and Pithing Needle. But then only has Soft Mana Denial as a follow-up. I basically have Stone Cold nothing if I get hit with a discard spell. I don't really think that this is good enough, especially with our creature count being as low as it is. I'm going to ship this one back. I mean, it's got a Thalia. This is also not a great hand. Because again, one discard spell goes and destroys this. I think this one has to be a keep, though. And I'll ship back the first Ether Vial. I've only got 2 surgicals to mull towards, so I don't really think that I can just go and like pray towards that. Kind of hoping that we run into the fail rate of their deck here. The games on the draw are really hard. This is looking like I'm going to get turn 1. Yeah, I don't know that I can beat this. So I have the beginning of the game Chancellor trigger to clear, plus this regular Chancellor trigger. Yeah, it's a shame they didn't reanimate a legendary. So do I just want to jam the Thalia and clear the initial Caracas trigger this turn? If I do, I open myself up to playing a 2-drop, such as Tomic, next turn. And if I wait a turn, the Thalia would still get countered if I play it out next turn. Let's send this away. Goodbye, Thalia. Your life was short. Alright. Swords of Plowshares would be gas. Surgical Extraction a little late here. So we have a handful of outs. Council's Judgment, Swords of Plowshares, Path to Exile, Flicker Wisp and Tomic buy a turn. That leaves me dead. Let's get some information about how they boarded. Oh, Magus of the Moon. That's good to know about. Alright. So there's an Alesh Norn, no Grave Titan, Chancellor, Archetype of Endurance, Magus of the Moon. Alright, so now that I've confirmed they have Archetype of Endurance, do I want the 3rd Council's Judgment? I am live. I do that sometimes. Yeah, I'm trying out XJ Cloud's list. The only thing I've changed is I split plains and snow-covered plains. I do need to make a cut if I do this way. Can't do another land. I don't really want to do another creature. But I guess that's what's happening. That leaves me at 17 creatures. It's really not great. Let's do some heresy and cut a vial. I'd play Crusader personally. We have another medium power level hand. Kind of have to hope that we don't get discarded and this Thalia can do something. Otherwise, like, we have an answer to a creature that's put in play. And we don't have a containment priest for the recruiter to find. Alright, I'm exposed. This is why, like, you really prefer to have lands with 2 pieces of interaction at 2 or less mana. But it may not matter. My opponent may just produce a fatty on turn 1. Yeah, that's what's happening. That's unfortunate. Yeah, they've got all the mana in the world, so they can produce something else here. Wall therapy, target themselves. Oh, great. So they're going to get, like, Archetype of Endurance into play, too. Basically on no outs. You can revoke the Grizzlebrand so they can't draw more cards. So my next draw step needs to be one of the 2 Council's Judgments. Otherwise, I don't see myself winning. You're just going to get the Elesh Narn now? Yeah, I mean, in what world do we beat this? Yeah, so I think Legacy is tipping from being, like, Dreadhorde Arcanist centric to being Red and 6 centric. So the fact that, like, Mirren Crusader is protected from many of the removal spells that are going in the Ren and 6 decks is, I think, what gives it the edge right now. I think a couple weeks ago, the opposite was true, and Brimaz living through Bolt was defining. Alright, well, we've got a pretty reasonable hand. Vial would be a big draw here. Yeah, there is always that risk. Alright, opponent is going way ahead of my ability to deny them mana. So even if I thought they could probably play something big and scary this turn. So this is a point where I have to decide, do I want to try to deny some mana in hopes that I stop them from casting multiple relevant spells, or do I just get the Stoneforge Mystic, grab the Batter Skull, hope that lives, and try to stabilize versus some of the bigger threats that they might have? I think the Batter Skull will still get outclassed by any large threat that they play, so I'm going to play the Thalia. Yep, alright. Predict is the answer. Alright, so let's play Crusader. This gets to protect itself every turn. But if I draw a Wisp or a Swords to Plowshares, I get to push this out of the way and kill the Ugin, which is what I need to play towards. Alright, there's some of the outs eliminated. Yikes. So in case you don't know, Ugin has... I can zoom in on this, right? Ugin has a static ability that says your colorless spells cost 2 less to cast. So that's why they got like the free Monolith, free Chalice, and cheap Karn. So now I don't get to equip any equipment. Yeah, I don't know what the holdup is, right? So they have 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. They just like lattice me and I can't beat it. Like they Ugin plus forever. And just like have spirits that can jump block this Mirran Crusader. Yeah. So I just got goldfished on turn 4 by Post. We do have some very good cards for this matchup. And a lot of them. Which is nice, but we're not really favored to start with. I may end up playing Path over Swords to Plowshares, too. We'll see where that ends up. Mother of Rune's pretty bad. The equipment gets way worse once Karn is in the equation. So I'll probably end up doing something like that. I need to go through and like look at these, though. Yeah, Ren and 6 makes for a very hostile metagame for D&T. So, like, one of the side problems of the Ren and 6 dominated metagame is that the best way to go and attack that is often with fast combo decks that go under them, which we're bad against, or big mana decks that go over them, which we're also bad against. Like, the post decks tend to beat up on D&T if you don't get a lock going, you know, by about turn 4. The inevitability they have just tends to outclass everything that we're doing. So, I'm super down on D&T personally. So like this is one of those hands where I really need a vial for this hand to be good. At the same time, I don't think I can throw back a Wasteland and Rashaten Port hand. Wasteland looking real hot. So the Cloudpost represents more long-term mana. So I think I'm going to Wasteland that and just nug their Ancient Tomb. That way, when I finally get to the point where I have to stop porting them, I may cause them a little bit extra chip damage. Alright, you're late to the party, but I still appreciate you, friend. Note, I don't think it's worth playing Tomic there over porting before somebody asks. Alright. GG. So this will just exile whatever I play. Great. So the Caracas means that I can't really effectively play out Tomic. Oh no, it is destroy. It's exile the top card of your library. My bad. Well, Hallowed Spiritkeeper can't really come down yet. I think that needs to wait till my graveyard's filled up. I can't play Tomic. I think I need to play the Crusader. And then play towards somehow using Flicker Wisp to build enough of a board presence. Alright, so now we're on Cataclysm or Bust. Yeah, so now they just lattice lock me again, and I'm dead. No, I think I have to play something to the board. in order to like interact with them at least to some degree, in order to buy more time to draw the Cataclysm. Because if I cast the Cataclysm, I'll keep a land and a Batterskull and a Germ. That's pretty good. But yeah, this is kind of why I've been exploring other things other than D&T right now. Like, we're not even playing against the Ren and 6 decks. We're playing against the fallout of the Ren and 6 decks, and it's already not good. No, I think saving the Flicker Wisp for later is probably more essential. All right. So, what am I doing with this Revoker? My opponent's last finishes were from like 2018 with Delver. I think I just want to play this and start turning it sideways at my opponent. Let's just name our good old buddy Jace. It's got overlap if this is like Miracles or Stoneblade. Slightly less thinking that this is going to be 4-color control because we have Island over Snow-Covered Island. Like, it's super minor, but like it at least means that if it's 4-color control, it's not the Astrolabe control version. Ooh. It is a Stifle list. Are we just like playing against mono blue Delver? Yeah, I'm A-okay with you brainstorming in your upkeep. Yeah, so there was like a mono blue like Delver Dreadnought list floating around that I heard about. I never saw it. But this also may just be blue red Delver off to just an island only start. So I can play a 2-drop safely around days. I can't play a 3-drop around days, so I think I am going to go ahead and tick this up. And I think these moms are on attack duty. I don't value any of my creatures right now. Alright, I will feed my sword to a Daze or Spell Pierce. I just don't really see this card being all that great. Oh my gosh, I get a Force of Will. As a Force of Will pitching a Daze. I'm guessing that means they have True Name Nemesis. It's like the only way that makes sense to me. No, that wasn't a mistake. That was a conscious choice on their end. That seems like an early concession to me, but okay. I mean, I'll take that. They don't know I have nothing. Good job, Revoker. Alright, I like Path. I like Council's Judgment, and that's probably it. I don't board Chalice versus Delver decks. Against any True Name Nemesis deck, I start by taking out Palace Jailer. Against Delver decks, I usually cut all my Revokers. And then I have to make a choice about one more card to cut from there. So I think good choices are probably Sanctum Prelate and Mirroring Crusader. And to a lesser extent, Hallowed Spiritkeeper too. So Sanctum Prelate's a little questionable in that, like, when you play it, you're shutting off your best answers to their board. So I often board it out in Delver matchups. But, like, Crusader's really bad against True Name Nemesis, and also bad against Lightning Bolt. So I think I'm going to junk the Crusader instead. Yeah, like, Hallowed Spiritkeeper is not great versus Stifle. I agree with that statement. But Stifles tend to be used by the point that Hallowed Spiritkeeper is good. Like, Hallowed Spiritkeeper is maybe not really a great card before, like, say, turn 6 or something like that. So, like, by then, Stifles are probably gone. So this vial lives for a few turns. I think I'm highly favored. I have a great vial curve. and I have an answer to True Name Nemesis, which is going to be one of the scariest cards for me to face right now. Whoa! All right. So I'm going to have to make a decision about whether or not I'm going to want to, like, Council Judgment that away. Or whether I'm just going to, like, play this game without access to my Ether Vial. Next turn, my plan is to just, like, Wisp, blanket out, Violent Atomic. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play out a Mother of Runes. And see what happens. I think the two things that are likely to happen are either Mom dies or my opponent taps out for True Name Nemesis. I think for tempo reasons, I'm going to make this Sword the Plowshares play here. Nice. Oh, that's quite good. Alright, so now I have to make the choice of, like, do I Tomic or do I Thalia? If I Thalia, I can't play my own Council's Judgment. No, I don't think this is a one or the other for sure. So Tomic has the upside of protecting my lands from Wasteland. Thalia has the upside of, like, making my opponent flounder if they don't have a True Name in hand. So Tomic is much better versus True Name. Thalia is much better versus a hand of, like, cantrips. I think I'm going to put in Tomic here, actually for mana reasons, because next turn I can cast Thalia and hold up Caracas, whereas I can't cast Tomic and hold up Protection. So that was my deciding factor there. Man, having the active vial would have been so good this game. I think my opponent should have attacked for one with that elemental too. I'm not trading a Flicker West for an elemental token. Yikes. Good God. Alright. So now I need to hit land drops. I'm doing it. Opponent doesn't have it all. Like, they have a 1 point a turn clock. Now, if they draw a True Name, or a Delver, or a Young Pyromancer, it's an entirely different ballgame. Delver flips to Force of Will. Yeah, like, there's no world in which I beat an Arcanist with, like, these 3 spells in the graveyard, right? Like, Arcanist Blazing Volley even beats out Hallowed Spiritkeeper. We did. Now I have to think about what to do. I think I'm casting Council Judgment this turn. And voting for Nullrod. I don't expect this to resolve. Like, my opponent has 3 cards and hasn't played anything to board outside of the Delver in a few turns. Alright. Goodbye, Nullrod. I may have some stifles to contend with. Alright. So they have a daze. Stifle check. No. Oh, man. The world is my oyster now. I think my plan is cast the Stoneforge, get a piece of equipment that has life gain written on it, vial in Recruiter, use Recruiter to get Tomic, trade Tomic with Delver. The other plan, though... No, I boarded out Jailer. Never mind. So... let's get Jitte here, and then pass the turn. Your Ponder is fine. I'm also going to get to do a classic D&T trick here. So I'm going to be activating my Ether Vial on 2, holding priority, activating my Ether Vial on 3, putting in my Recruiter, and then dumping in Tomic, which is strictly better than, like, activating Vial on 3 trigger. Because if I put in Recruiter, my opponent could respond by blowing up the Ether Vial, and like make it so I can't put in the Tomic this turn. Oh wait, I can't actually tutor up Tomic. Right, 3 toughness. Well, it didn't matter. I'm rusty. I haven't played with Tomic much. It's a 2-3, not a 3-2. Okay. Yeah, that was such a good game. Like, that and Majora's Mask were some of like my really influential childhood games. Ocarina of Time. Okay, so how it works is, like, let's say I go and tap this vial on 3, right? And my opponent goes and responds by blowing up my vial on 2. I can't put something in off Recruiter now. Or if, like, I put it in, Recruiter triggers on the stack, and they blow up my other vial, then I also don't get to, like, resolve my tutor before going and finding the card that I need. So that last round, like, blue-red Delver is a fine matchup. Like, there's things that can go wrong, but, like, that's a matchup I'd be happy seeing in a tournament. We have a solid, like, opening hand that now became a really good opening hand. Unless my opponent's just playing, like, Reanimator and we just get, like, destroyed here. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, and that's why so many... So the issue with the Vial thing is that I didn't have another 2-drop in hand, right? I needed to tutor for the 2-drop that I needed. Alright, so what deck leads on double swamp? It does nothing on turn 1. Like Pox? Reanimator surely would have played something on turn 1 or 2. No, the website hasn't been updated in a couple months at this point. I think I'm just going to port and pass rather than, like, throw Revoker out there and name something wrong. Or rather than just, like, play Stoneforge into what is perhaps an obvious removal spell. Oh, it's Depths. That's fine. Like, we're very well suited for this, actually. So, this is potentially the Reanimator Depths hybrid deck. Honestly, I think I just want to continue on the Mana Denial plan. So, like, let's blow that up before they have a basic. Or, like, before they can turn it into a basic. Ooh. I mean, but honestly, if my opponent is blowing a Dark Ritual on that, I think I'm A-okay with that. It's like, I already have the Merit Lodge covered from 2 different angles. Yeah, so, like, I trade Wasteland for Dark Ritual. Just totally fine. No, I don't think we need to port the stage in response to the ritual. I think it's more important to deny them mana on their turn. Yeah, so this all is very, very good for me. So let's Source of Plowshares, get that Grave Titan out of the way. And then I need to think about whether or not I want to just, like, port Lake of the Dead, or I want to, like, put in my Batterskull. I think it's just better to port the lake. I think I've just got inevitability with Recruiter of the Guard potentially into either Flicker Wisp or Palace Jailer. Plus, like, next turn I can get another Mother of Runes in play. Is this one enters play? Nice. So if I end up Flicker Wisping that, it costs them a swamp. No pulling counters off my Ether Vial for you, fiend. So I have a handful of assorted lines here. I kind of like cast Recruiter, get Flicker Wisp out, Lake of the Dead. Make them sack another swamp if they want to keep it, and effectively port them for a turn. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, the Rashadan ports are looking real fly right now. So it's possible that just like going more slowly and just like porting the Lake of the Dead is better because then I can like Recruiter for Flicker Wisp, but it like locks me into using my mana every turn towards porting, and I have other stuff to do with it on board. So like now, for example, if I draw a land, I can play a Stoneforge and continue to port. Cabal Therapy taking the Stoneforge is pretty good. All right, good stuff. So I don't think I want to start like using Bomb for protection and attacking in yet. Play low. Like D&T is a fine deck. Like if it is the deck that you have the most experience with, it is probably worth you continuing to play it, even though it's bad. But if you have close to equal experience with two decks, playing the not D&T deck is probably better right now. Yeah, honestly, I should really do that. Oh man. Oh man. Well, this is nice. So now I can like flicker their Lake of the Dead, make them choose between it and the Thespian stage, and get them to like and then port the other one. Yeah, I like Maverick much better than D&T right now. So I'm thinking about how I want to do this. I think I just want to do this on my main phase, have it come back at the end step. Yeah, I've considered like trying to work with some other people to like keep things more up to date, because I kind of like I get the choice of like work on the website or work on the stream, and it's really an either or thing. The website has not decayed, but has been less frequently updated by a lot since I started streaming regularly. Like the streaming is profitable, the website is not, so like it makes more sense for me to put my time towards like working on the stream. So that's kind of where I'm at. Oh yeah, I love the website too. But the website is kind of one of those things like, oh, I have a little bit of time at work, I'll put some work into the website. Not in, all right, I'm going to sit down and spend 4 hours on my Sunday off working on the website. All right, so we're playing against Reanimator depths, so we need things that hit both sides of the equation. Probably this stuff. Like, you can consider the Council's judgments as well, but that might be, like, boarding too deep. So what's not going to be great? The Stoneforge package is probably pretty medium. Like, I may even just consider cutting all of it. Like if I were to cut the entire Stoneforge Mystic package plus one land or one creature, that would end up with me having the right amount of stuff. Yeah, I think I like this. And then trim a land. Yeah, I think I'll trim a land. I mean, it seems like a good time to storm if the like 4-color controllish decks are on something like 6 pieces of main deck interaction with you. That's just not enough. Giver of Runes is not good. The fact that it doesn't protect itself is huge. This is not a great 6-card hand, but it's good enough that I think I have to keep it. We'll send away land 4. So, like, basically the only upside to Giver of Runes is that it has 2 toughness and lives through Ren and 6. So here's what I'll say about Moto practicing. You will be a much better player if you spend a lot of time playing on Moto. The competition that you will get on Moto will usually be better on average than the competition you're going to get in your local game store. The flexibility you have in being able to go and play games at any time and get in the practice you need is invaluable. So, all right, I've fully taken my opponent off mana, and I've still got mana denial in reserve, so this is great. So, like, when I first bought into D&T on Moto, like, in that first sort of, like, honeymoon period, I probably got in almost a league a day, and the amount of practice that I was getting just, like, shot up overnight. It was so worth it for me. I'm going to deny an initial mana source rather than a win condition here. So about the scariest thing that can happen is my opponent goes and throws some giant creature into the tank. But if they like throw a Grizzlebrand into the graveyard, I just play Flicker Wisp and revoke it. A Dark Confidant as their discard. That's A-okay by me. Deck extremely difficult in all seriousness. But then there's games like this where it just looks like child's play. Like, I wastelanded my opponent twice, and now I am beating them to death with a board full of creatures. Like, kind of the only decision I've had this game was whether or not to attack with the Mother of Runes or whether to hold it back to play around, like, Dark Ritual into multiple removal spells or something. But, like, this game's a joke now. Let's see if Mom attacking changes the... I don't care. Should, like, technically see... I think I am being taxed. Hold on. I need to send my opponent the thing from Reddit. Posted it in the D&T Discord. There we go. For anyone in chat, in case you were wondering. This video cracked me up. And it was definitely worth the 30 seconds of my time while my opponent watches that video. I would just play it for the stream, but then if I put it on YouTube, my video might get muted for using someone else's content, so womp womp. Opponent says GG. Alright, so how's today gone? We lost the 2 bad matches. We won the 2 good matches. Keep? This is a hand that can be improved by a lot of cards, and that is just going to be like insane versus a Delver deck. So I've got to keep it. Oh man, this hand is so good against Burn. Lol, 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 lol. Yeah, so I think this is just like a Stoneforge for Batterskull turn and then call it GG. Like, I'll take 2 more damage off the Goblin Guide, but then I'm unlikely to take much more damage for the rest of the game. I mean, like, obviously I'll take damage from, like, bolts being thrown in my face and whatnot. Alright, hold on. X -4, so I have 6 cards, so I take 2? Or I can just respond to the trigger and take 1? Yeah, that's fine. Look, there's Black Vice, and then there's one that works like the opposite way, right? I had to remember which one was which. Okay. I think I still pretty handily win this race with just, like, Batterskull Jitte. That does make life harder. Hey chat, check out this cool trick, right? Ha! Ha 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 ha! Your sulfuric vortex works against you. Fool! I do really like my opponent's burn build, though. I think permanent-based damage is really good right now. So I think this is a play Recruiter, get Flicker Wisp, hold up Wasteland on my own land for Price of Progress turn. Because I don't really care about their creatures given board. Felchmaster, you're fired. D&T 24, Wasteland can be sacrificed targeting itself. So I'm kind of thinking about playing out this Thalia, but doing so requires me to play out another non-basic land, which I don't love. Yeah, I'm not going to play out the Thalia. If I'm dead, I just, like, die in response to casting the Thalia. It's like Bolt plus Fire Blast beats me here. So something that I was considering, but I didn't actually talk about, is on my upkeep, I could have Swords to Plowshared my Recruiter of the Guard or Stoneforge Mystic in order to specifically play around Bolt plus Fire Blast. Oh, sorry, I thought my opponent conceded. And dropping myself one card lower in hand. I also kind of think it might be correct to just, like, Swords to Plowshares one of my creatures here. In order to gain some more life. Like, if I Swords to Plowshares my Batterskull Germ, next turn I can move Batterskull to Flicker Wisp and still be presenting lethal. And just, like, really make it so that I'm not dying to anything. Leonin Relic Warder is probably going to be looking real nice in this matchup, by the way. Nice. Glad I played around that. Not that it matters that much, but, you know. Yeah, like, this is, like, exactly the style of burn deck that I wanted to play. I think that this sort of burn is so good against all the derpy control decks that are running around right now. Well, actually, no, I don't want to equip it to Mob. Equip it to Flicker Wisp. I equip it to Mom and they Fire Blast the Mom. Like, Mom tapping itself means it can't attack. Good stuff. Alright, so what do I like? Probably like removal spells. I probably like Chalice. Actually, Chalice may only be medium, depending on what my opponent's build actually looks like. They may have way fewer 1-drops than I actually suspect that they do, like, than traditional Burn does. Like, I'll still probably play this, but, like, I do need to consider whether or not Chalice is going to be good. Alright, let's figure out what I don't like versus Burn. Mirran Crusader, not great. Palace Jailer, very slow. This is perhaps not the best Hallowed Spiritkeeper matchup. You know, that's really for the control decks. Like, it can do some cute things here, but I don't really expect to get more than 1 or 2 spirits out of it the entire time. I think 12-post is pretty good in the meta. I think regular Eldrazi Stompy loses out quite a bit with Plague Engineer running around. Because, like, it hits play, names Eldrazi, kills your Eldrazi mimics, trades with a Thought-Knot Seer, or makes it so your Thought-Knot Seers can get bolted. It does some awkward things. Yeah, I'm fine with cutting the Ancient Tomb. I frequently cut Recruiters in this matchup for them being slow. I'm not used to having a whopping 3 Council's Judgments here, and I'm not used to, like, really needing to bring in Relic Order, so my numbers are a little weird here. Yeah, maybe I'll just, like, drop both the Revokers. I go down to 20 creatures, and I'll lose out a bit if they're playing, like, Lavamancer or something like that. But this is probably still fine. I'm going to keep this hand based on the potential that it has, not based on what it does right now. Because if my opponent opens up on Black Vice and I have an Ether Vial, I can potentially be dumping my future creatures into play, and I already have an answer to a problematic permanent, which it seems like my opponent's deck is just full of. Oh, well, I'm glad you got to catch me live. We're just going to junk a Goblin guy now to take 1 less damage. So that's good, but not quite yet. Oh, yikes. Yeah, the Goblin Guide Black Vice combo is pretty sick here. And the fact that my opponent's triggers go on the stack before mine, so I can't even like take my vial up and take less damage, is rough. Yeah, this is not good times. So I have to take the Vortex to have any shot of winning. But like literally any spell that does damage to me kills me. I think that kills me too. God, you have another one. Well, that was brutal. Opponent is a hero. I'm going to ask for their deck list after this game. I'm also unsure about the chalices. Like, I might just need more bodies. Like, they have Goblin Guides, they have Black Vices, they presumably at least have Bolts, so, like, there's at least 12 things. But it may just need to be, like, I need to play to the board rather than playing a chalice. I think I'm just going to play more bodies. Like, I think just another thing that trades with a Goblin Guide or an Eidolon is really good. You donate to watch this? All right. I've just asked the opponent for the deck list. All right, so I have answers to permanents now that I can't necessarily cast. I've got this Stoneforge Mystic. I don't necessarily want to like run it directly into Bolt. I usually don't like taking turns off versus burn, but it might just be correct. Actually, maybe I play out the Stoneforge and just get Jitte here. The next turn I cast Jitte, Violin, Revoker, end step. Oh wow, no Bolt. Alright, so we'll just pass the turn here. I don't want to just cast the Jitte and attack with the Stoneforge, because I want to play around the end of this turn Smash to Smithereens. I'm actually not drawing any conclusions about this game yet. Like, I know my life total's still high, but I don't necessarily feel favored. Like, my opponent has 7 cards in hand and hasn't cast anything yet. Thorkanov and JPT Ebas 10, thank you very much for following, as well as Shiro Mooney and Chiliest. I'm going to leave this vial on 2. My mana's really tight right now, so if I draw a 2-drop, I can't, like, both equip and go in. So I expect something to go wrong this turn. I don't know what that something is yet, but, like, there's no way I just, like, get to connect with all this. Yeah. Is that just lightning bolt me? Well, that's terrifying. Is my opponent just gonna go like land, bolt you, bolt you, bolt you, bolt you, fire blast? Uh-oh. So this would be like my only opportunity to use the Swords of Plowshares to gain 2 life. Unless I Council Judgment away this Pyrostatic Pillar. Which I think I'm going to end up doing. We'll see. So, like, now I get to, like, play the game of how much do I want to play into Price of Progress / is Price of Progress still in the deck? I have to make this decision about the Pyrostatic Pillar basically this turn. If I leave in the Pyrostatic Pillar, my plan is just, like, double port them and hope that I keep them off of anything that truly matters. I really need another creature. I think I'm going to double port. I think I'm going to leave this in play. And try to keep them off of like something like a sulfuric vortex or equivalent. This is slightly annoying, but I would love if it gave me basic planes. A Sword of Fire and Ice, that is like almost good. So I think I just go in on the Revoker, right? And make them Fire Blast it. And if they can't Fire Blast it, I probably win the game. If they have the Fire Blast here, though, I am in very big trouble. Alright, they don't. So I think it is best to just go ahead and shoot the Goblin Guide, take it off the battlefield, make sure I don't take any damage from that, and like try to find another 2-drop that I can vial in. I still very much could be dead. They're going to get 2 turns out of this. But I'm going to have the line of gain 2 life by getting rid of my own Phyrexian Revoker. Now that line is lost to me. I mean, like, any 2 or 3-drop creature for most of this game would have been great. Alright. I guess I lose to that. GG. Well, that's kind of unfortunate. Opponent's deck was sweet. So this is an older version of it from 2018. Like, this one didn't have Sulfuric Vortex in it. I imagine, like, rather than volcanic fallouts, there were sulfuric vortexes. I don't know that they actually were on main board Fallout. Like, this is a 2018 version of the deck, so this was for a very different metagame. But this might be the general strategy. We went a whopping 2-3 with D&T. We faced 2 unfavorable matches in the first 2 rounds, and then we very narrowly lost to a very, very strange burn build. Yeah, so basically my my thoughts on D&T haven't changed for anyone who got here late. Essentially, I think the metagame is very hostile towards D&T right now because, like, on A level, Ren and Six and Plague Engineer are bullying most of our deck, and on the B level, a lot of the decks that are being pushed to the front of the format because they fight against those, such as very fast combo or Cloudpost based decks, are also rough matchups. I like this 75 more or less. I'd probably, I said this at the beginning, but I'd probably play another Plains over the third Caracas just because I really like basic Plains right now and I don't like non-basic lands. And I'd also probably trim a Mom for another Crusader. But if you're looking to play D&T, this what's on screen right now is XJ Cloud's list, and I do think it's a good list. I don't think we saw very representative matchups necessarily. Like, you're probably not going to play against a permanent-based burn at your local meta event, but so be it. So it goes. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you're really enjoying this content, please consider doing something to support my channel, whether it's following, subscribing, or doing a donation deck list, or even supporting Daily D&T on YouTube. I've got a little bit of time before school starts up. I'm trying to do some more content, and if it's financially working for me, it makes it easier. There's currently no one else streaming Legacy, so that's all I've got for you today, folks. Have a good rest of the day, and if you're playing Taxes, good luck. Keep trying.